Hey YouTube, Marko with Marko's Garage coming today with the final chapter of this 1957 Chevy. I'm going to go over completely what I've done. I know I haven't done every little video on every little thing. It's been a long journey. A lot of work has gone into this car, a lot of hours, and it's affected even like being able to get YouTube videos up. The guy wants to be able to have his car back. I'm working tirelessly getting this thing done. So what I'm going to do is go over everything that's been done. It's a 1957 Chevy for you, and the guy's picking up tonight, so I'm making this video before he shows up, and hope you enjoy it. Okay, so in the front of the car, some changes that were made was the grill bar and grill. This is a aluminum colored grill, silver grill, and a brand new grill bar from Dan Chuck Remanufacturing. Just a beautiful piece there. The old grill is going to be Garage Art. There's the old gold grill and grill bar. Still in pretty good shape. The car got Corvette rallies. He still has center caps. I hope he doesn't put trim rings, but he might put trim rings on it. The front here are P205 60 R15s. A little bit low. He wanted a 70 series, but he would have had to wait for production. I guess it was hard to even get this size. We got our Willwood disc brakes on, as you've seen in that video there. Let's see the calipers behind the wheels. These are 15 by 8s. They're custom made with 4.5-inch back spacing. So if you ever want to put big boots on your 57, that will work for you. I'm going to give you the tire size here. Anyway, these are 245/60 15s, and they fit quite nice on this 57 with a 4.5-inch back spacing. Again, that's 4.5-inch back spacing on a 15 by 8. Okay, you have just enough room to stick your fingers in there. Then on the inside, leaf spring clearance, you have just enough. So this is where the stock leaf spring setup, they fit in there quite nicely. If you have a 57 Chevy, probably 56 would be about the same. 55s, I'm not sure if you could tuck them in there, but they fit pretty good. I put in a tachometer for him. It also lights up with the light switch, and also dims with the dash lights, so that's hooked up. Obviously the dimmer switch on the headlight switch is kind of phooey. Yeah, tach works good. New ignition switch was put in, and I did some wiring on the car. Basically everything under the hood has been rewired using basically just wire, all the wire loom. I use this sort of mesh as a wire loom, and it gets bigger as you push it, so it goes different sizes. Driver's side kick panel here. I don't have good lighting. Let me get the flashlight out. You pull out this carpet. I don't think that's original, but anyway. Inside here, there's a relay block that I put in, and those relays run the high beam, low beam, and the horn and electric fan. On Tri-5 Chevys, it's really important that you have upgrade and put your high beam, low beam on a relay, because the original wiring isn't thick enough to support, like if you want to put halogen headlights in this car, we wouldn't be able to do it. So now he can put halogens or whatever he wants, and the wiring and the electrical system will now support it. Hood's on. I want to note on these hood hinges, these are aftermarket reproduction hood hinges, and they like to go up with the spring is pretty stiff, and this bar likes to go straight, and then you can't pull the hood down again. So I put in a bolt here. I drilled a hole in the hinge so that when the hinge goes down, it has a stop that allows you to close the hood without bending this forward pivot point here. So if you have a 57 Chevy and have that problem, that might be something you want to do. Engine installed, battery installed. We have battery cables I made with that same outside wire loom on it and heat shrink. Custom with the different ends on it soldered on. The belt accessory drive, alternator, water pump, and electric fan. You don't have a lot of wiring on this engine. You just have the temperature switch. That one controls the gauge on the dash, and this switch here controls the electric fan. So when it hits 185 degrees, that kicks in. Custom made fuel lines all the way down to the fuel pump, and a T-fitting that got all ground down to be smooth so it looks nice, out of brass. Got our air cleaner here, which is now a 4-inch tall element. Okay, and the engine's coated with KBS coatings here. We got the Willwood brake master cylinder kit, chrome power brake booster there. Instead of tough stuff brackets to hold it on, so that they're 4, 55, 6, 7 Chevys. Keeps it straight, nice and close to the firewall. All the brake lines are copper nickel and are bent by myself. They come in a roll, so they're not perfectly straight, so you got to straighten them out and then make your bends. Proportioning valve that's adjustable down on the frame, which I'll show you underneath the car. So these lines run down to that. The spark plug wires, saw in that video where I was getting it running, and they're held on with some GM retainers and then some other clips to hold them in place, but they're fairly well hidden in the engine bay and aren't intrusive, and they don't really go over the valve covers, so you can see them. The engine wiring harness runs down behind the alternator, and I'll show you what happens underneath. Along with, this is the harness for the headlights, comes through the firewall and then goes back down through the inner fender well, and the rest of the wiring is hidden. Normally it would come through here, so the only wire you see is for the corner markers going out on each side through the pan here. So there's a very clean look. You don't see any wiring. On the air cleaner base, I added a breather back here that goes down to this, which looks like a PCV valve. Although that's gutted out now, I took out the PCV valve. There's a clip on the bottom. So both sides look symmetrical. It looks the same on the left as the right, but also draws air in the filtered air that goes through the engine and then drawn out through the PCV. So when you take off the air cleaner lid, that hose has to come with it. As you can see there, it's a 90-degree fitting on the bottom with a fitting that I actually machined off on the lathe and turned into a nut so that holds that together. Our Holley Street Performance 770 carburetor, and it's got vacuum secondaries. Also electric choke. That wire goes back there. We do have fuel lines, like I talked earlier, that I made that go down instead of using a pre-made piece. I bought a pre-made piece and it ends up basically right at the back of the alternator here, and there's not enough room to make a corner, so I custom made that. The intake came with the engine as well from GM, part of the crate engine deal. I do have a correction piece for the 700 R4 transmission for the it's not a kickdown cable, but a TV cable, so it has to work in full operation with the throttle. It has to start pulling on it right away. Controls the pressure. This is a hard mechanical linkage that I had custom made with some Heim joints that are 5/16 rod and bolts going to the factory throttle pedal link with a kickdown bracket that's been modified. It used to have a piece that came up here, is made by Holley, and that piece would hold a throttle cable style throttle link. This also became a bracket to hold return springs, so that when you operate the carburetor, you don't have big return springs out front here on the engine. The wiper motor was cleaned up, although now after bench testing it, I noticed that this wire here, there's something wrong. It must have come unsoldered on the inside, so that would have to come out and get fixed. So I got to do that another time. Heater hoses, some of them are molded 90s with straight, so one tucks under the alternator there, so you don't have hoses hanging over top of the engine. I used a street 45 on this side to kick it over so it goes between the valve cover and the alternator, and then go down to your heater core. Also another 90 up at the top here, so it tucks down and goes behind the heater box. That hose is not touching the valve cover or the alternator. There's clearance on both sides. The alternator charge wire goes down. Timing covers was changed from plastic to a chrome one. This is a Flexolite 16-inch fan onto a Griffin radiator. I had to notch the brand new rad support so that this would clear. This is a 6-cylinder / 8-cylinder radiator. Fits both sides. And using a V8 rad support, I made some aluminum plates that come through and then mount the radiator to that. And then I cut off the other flange that was for the 8-cylinder mounting location. Overflow tube goes down and around and ends up in the overflow that's attached to the plate on the right hand side there. Alright, I got the car jacked up in the air. I'm going to go underneath and show you everything that's going on underneath this fine automobile. We got wiring here underneath. You can see the wiring harness goes underneath the front pan here between the frame rails. Goes up and then makes the connections up into the headlights and markers. And it's all done with that same wire loom on it. I couldn't use the drain cock that came with the radiator because it would hit this pan here, so that didn't fit, so I had to just use a plug. We got our Wilwood calipers up at the front here in the suspension, both sides. Frame was just painted with a brush and a roller with trim clad. So here's the transmission lines. For the cooler, they go up into the radiator. And what I used here are actually spark plug wire retainers, and that helps space them and keep them evenly spaced so they don't vibrate. And I put unions here for two reasons. One is it makes it a little easier to make the line in two pieces, and two, if a guy wants to change the cooler option up at the front, you only have to make a change back at this union. That's the idea there. So our GM Performance starter is up here, and of course there's the build date on the engine block. Everything like that, build information. Those headers are ceramic coated in cast metal color. The company that did it for me said I'm the first person to ask for headers in that color. Usually they're done in chrome or white. Transmission 700 R4. There's still a pan that's missing here to cover the torque converter ring gear, so we'll get one of those and put it in. The wiring harness and alternator 10 gauge charge wire goes back to the battery cable on the starter lead and up around the engine. I put on a set of aftermarket reproduction, like just horns. They're just regular horns you buy at your local Bumper to Bumper. I also want to thank Bumper to Bumper for all the parts supplied on building this car as well. The fuel line is 3/8 all the way down, new right to the tank. Cross member was notched, as you can see, for the exhaust. Okay. The exhaust system is 2.5-inch manual bent. It's a kit from Flowmaster. The tailpipes are 4 55/6/7 applications, and the front part here and cross member is part of a universal kit, and the mufflers are Raptor mufflers. Proportioning valve up here with the knob for the rear brakes, and the rear line going to the back, and then the front splits off and gives you one for left and right. And those brake lines go under the cross member and over to the other side. Okay, cross member is quite simple. It's just a 2x2 square tube, but like I say, I notched it for the exhaust using a piece of round pipe that I cut in half, one for each side. 4-inch round if you want to know the size. I also drilled a hole in the middle here for drainage, so if anything gets in here, the water or anything will drain out of here if you hit a puddle or something like that. There's our symmetrical exhaust system. What's on the right is on the left, and those are Raptor mufflers. I'll give you the part number. Part number I used is, sorry about the mess here, is 50052 FLTs. So if you want to hear what they sound like. I also use these hangers here. I use the cross member to hang the other side, and a rubber insulator to hang the front part of the exhaust. Exhaust tips are stainless steel, and they came from Dan Chuck. Rear hangers are just regular style hangers that came off of the bracket, so it's the same left and right on both sides. And then I also welded this muffler hanger to the bracket, and then the U-bolt bolts on with the nuts up, so when you look underneath the vehicle you don't see nuts hanging down and studs. Now, the reason these tips aren't fully welded is because they kind of angle up a little bit. If there's any moisture that accumulates in here, it'll just drain out here onto the ground. The mufflers are slightly angled so that they'll clear the emergency brake bracketing over here. You can see the differential has all new brake lines. One of the things I did was on the Tri-5 Chevys, this particular block and bracket is on that side of the differential, and so is the bracket up to hold the brake line. But because now the brake line now comes down the driver's side of the car, instead of crossing over, I relocated the brackets on the frame and the differential so that it looks factory. Filler tube going all the way up, 2 pieces in the 57, all new hardware, new gas tank straps, new fuel tank as well, and 3/8 fuel line right from the sending unit all the way forward. Inside the trunk, I sold him my white wall tire that I bought at the swap meet, and he had a rim painted to match the car, so in the trunk he has a white wall spare, and it looks original, although originally this tire would be flipped the other way. Okay, so I'm just going to get the car on the ground, back it out, and do a walk around on it. We'll go for a little test drive and see how it is. Alright, here we go. We're going to fire it up. Fire's right up. It's got the choke there to high idle. Let it warm up a little bit. Alright, I got it outside here now. We can do a little walk around outside. There she is. It's fantastic. still has manual steering. The pulley kit does include a power steering pump and everything, but we can add that later. Right now it's just got the manual steering. We did add power disc brakes to it. This car really wants to go. It has good power. It just feels so good. I'm not even getting on it hard. It's not my car, so. And the rear end probably could use a little bit of work, so that'll be one of the other things that's happening to this car. But right now, just going to be able to take it to cruise night, enjoy it. Let's go around the block so you guys can see it and hear it. I wish I had it. Oh, I need to get myself one of these. This is fantastic. Oh. Beautiful. Brakes feel nice when you hit the brakes, doesn't pull. Goes. The speedometer almost just climbs like it's a tachometer. It's fantastic. Oh, I love it. It's great. This is all the right noises, all the right feel. Oh, it's great. That's the way it should start. Just bump the key. Yeah. Well, there you have it. 57 Chevy's done, ready for delivery. The owner's coming to pick it up. Should be here any minute. A breakdown. People want to know a breakdown on this, what this car took to build. And I have a whole booklet of receipts that I have basically put into this car. Some of these are instructions and stuff for components that went in. One of the things is I can tell you that probably it was about $1,200 to $1,500 just in like hose clamps, hoses, little clips, little things that went into this vehicle, brake lines, fuel line, fittings, brass fittings, just little things come to about $1,500. And then the engine itself was I think it was about $7,000 Canadian, plus transmission cost him a couple $1,000, and you know, the total on this entire project, he's probably into parts with brakes and everything, I would say close to $15,000. So that's kind of what went into this just in parts. So if you like these videos, please subscribe, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Have yourself a great day. See you next week. Oh, And by the way, if you see in the background, the Hudson's on the driveway. I got to start on the thing right away. I filmed this, today is the 5th of July, so I have to have that car done. I got to know by the 16th whether I can make it in the challenge, and then I'll have probably till the 20th of next month to get it done. But really, it's 1 month build to get that car rolling. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna try, and you're gonna come along for the ride. So hopefully you enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to what's coming up. So this car's been a lot of work. This 57, it's taken up a lot of time. I apologize, I haven't got a lot of videos up. It's been just every moment I have working on this car, and then dealing with family stuff and everything. So it's been long days, long nights, and it's finally done. So Craig, I think you'll be happy with this car, and that's all there's to it. Now you can go out and drive it. Yeah,
good.
The guy's picking it up tonight, so
Oh yeah. How fast is it? So
pretty quick. Yeah, it's nice. Did you? I was gonna say, you selling it?
Yeah.
Did you buy this or what?
No, it's a loaner's car because I ordered a manual one, a red hatchback Corolla.
Oh, so you can same idea.
Yeah.
Or a brand new one?
A brand new, yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Because they gave me 2%.
Oh, wow.
For it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's manual. I don't want to drive stick.
It'll be nice. It'll be nice. It's good until you're stuck in traffic.
Oh yeah.
It's fun. Customer states I welded the exhaust system myself. Over this way. It's like that show, Daddy Daycare. Daddy 1. What's the other numbers, bud? Yeah.
No, you can't have this.